Welcome to today's episode of Effective Businesses. Today, we dive deep into the world of combat sports, business vision, and brand building with one of the most influential figures on the European MMA scene, Pavol Neruda, a co-founder of OKTAGON MMA. What started as a bold idea between two friends has become one of the most dynamic and fastest growing sports organizations in Europe. With sold-out arenas, a loyal fan base across the continent, and a unique mix of sports and storytelling, OKTAGON has redefined how MMA is marketed and experienced. I first met Pavol during one of the advertising workshops I was leading, and I was excited to see how he uses marketing fundamentals to grow OKTAGON brand. Usually, I see these kind of principles to be used in big consumer brands, but Pavol was excited to try them in his day-to-day work for OKTAGON. As someone who is not an expert in MMA, it was especially fascinating to hear how storytelling became a core part of the brand strategy, turning fighters into relatable athletes with stories that fans can truly connect with. That emotional layer is what takes OKTAGON stand out in a crowded sports market. Pavol isn't just a businessman, he's a creative force and a strategic mind behind the OKTAGON brand. In this conversation, we explore his journey, the challenges of growing a sports organization from scratch, how they are turning fighters into stars, and what's next for OKTAGON in an increasingly competitive global landscape. Let's jump in. Hope you enjoy it. So, Pavol, thanks a lot for connecting.
Thank you for inviting me.
I already did a very short intro about you, the brand of OKTAGON, and also how we met and how we built a relationship. So maybe let's start off with a simple question about your background. Where are you from? How long ago you founded OKTAGON, and what was the mission behind it?
So I'm from Slovakia, Bratislava. My background is like, I would say, storyteller, videographer, photographer, and the guy who was always creative in many, many areas, always want to be an entrepreneur with a big impact on the society. And I was close to the MMA community, to the first generation of MMA fighters, like 10, 12 years back. And it was very like poor conditions and the sport was so much not developed. But I saw in US and then abroad that there's a huge potential in that sport. So I started to I founded the first MMA management. I founded the first federation of MMA in Slovakia. I was like managing fighters and sending them all around Europe, helping them to become a more professional sport. And I became very passionate about it. And I saw these fighters not like rest of society, like some beating machines and some violent creatures, but I saw nice young athletes, people with the dreams and with their fears that they are trying to achieve something amazing, but nobody basically appreciate that. And I wanted to see the world see what I see, and that's how I come up with the idea to make a big product which can be watched by the whole society. And I come up with the idea of the reality TV show, which was called OKTAGON Challenge. And I joined my partner Andrzej Novotny, who was like a big name in Czechia, also trying like me promote the sport. And we founded OKTAGON MMA in 2016 in this prehistoric era, I would say, of combat sports, when people look at it through the fingers, like it's something not cool and violent and blooded. And we put ourselves on mission to change this perspective. So we really, from the day one, we aim to the general public, to normal people. So from the first project, which was the reality TV show, broadcasted on the big TV stations in Czechia and Slovakia, first time ever, those times, was accessible such a content for wide public. And from the start, we pack it, I would say, in a huge package of stories, and the fights was just the cherry on top. Like we were focused so much on to attract the general public, like people like it's our parents or our neighbors, like just normal people, which normally they didn't watch this sport before. And I would say we were successful. Like from the start, we started with the first event. It was the finale of the reality TV show, and how we was. And back then, on these kind of events, was these people like people from the mafia background, people like from the different kind of hooligans groups and so on. And we were trying to make it like, okay, this is not for you. We want to make it for like general public, how I mentioned. So we, for example, changed the seating around the cage. Before it was tables with the catering,
Hmm.
and we make it like in theater. Then we make a dress code. I remember it was a dress code called how was it? It was like smile chic. And because Andrzej's wife, she's a former Miss Czech Republic, and she said, "Guys, make this smart chic." And we need to even Google with Andrzej like how we should dress on our first event to be fit in this dress code. But with all these things, we try to like show for general public that this is for you. You don't need to be worried. You can come, have fun, and be part of this action, this new sport, let's say. So this was our beginnings.
And how was the reception from the audiences? Did they really did you see this shift from the appreciation like you mentioned, MMA and combat sports in general quite often are close to either the hooligan clubs or and stuff like that. But how did you mention to transition? Do you see that the people actually appreciated those changes, and were you able to attract more people, let's say, from the general public?
Yes, yes, sure. I would say from the first event, it was amazing. Like, really, we were looking, okay, it's not full. Our first event was arena. I think capacity was 2,300, and there were like 1,700 people. But immediately we saw it's a different kind of audience.
Mhm.
But and we like the best moment of the whole evening was because we make the fight card, which usually in MMA it's divided to two parts, like preliminary card and the main card. And the prelims card was just regular fighters from the MMA scene in Czechoslovakia. So and people were nice, clapping. There was like good atmosphere, all was fine. And then on the main card was the fighters which was participants in the reality TV show. And the first guy came in, Lukas Patina was his name. And I remember how he walked in and his entrance song started to play. He appears on the LED screens, and then the whole arena exploded. It was like wow, like so much bigger, like difference how they react. And then it was like first moment when we knew it worked, what we created. Like they totally they have the connection to this person. They feel it's his friend, their friend, because they watch him 3 months in TV, and it works. And that was like confirmation from the start that yes, the audience changed, their reaction to the sport. And that's a new fans, not even people who used to go on this sport. And that was what we wanted exactly.
Nice.
And we repeat that this thing in Germany. For example, when we uh, expand to Germany in 2020, if I'm not 21, sorry, and we made a first event there, and that was for us also very critical to bring the new audiences. And it took us 2, 3 events, and we got the same thing.
And what were from the outside of the audience perspective? What were some of the initial challenges? Because I know that in the beginning and even now there are some of the challenges connected to combat sports in general that they are not appreciated that much by brands getting involved because they are still afraid of it. But are there any other challenges that you see, especially early on, and then maybe we can jump into like what are some of the current challenges?
You mean regarding the sponsorship deals,
In general,
or in general?
yeah, getting this sport up, because we can
Oh
maybe
yeah.
discuss about your results now, because you filled in amazing huge arenas. You're now available on multiple markets, but obviously now it's a long time after you started, so there were for sure some of the initial
Oh,
challenges.
it
So
was
the
like
main ones. So the
it's
main
8 years
ones.
long challenge, I would say.
Yeah, yeah,
It's always something, and I heard someone saying that the business and entrepreneurship is not about the best man will win, but the last man standing, who
exactly.
can stay solving problems the longest. And I think it's kind of true. Yeah, for sure. In our environment, was a lot about the changing this perception to go and convince sponsors or TV broadcasters. That was a huge, huge amount of work and challenge. Really, we really I reached hundreds of companies and to get one lead actually, which was luckily our biggest sponsors for 3 years. But from these hundreds companies, everyone say no. Then we got some sponsors which through the people you knew, like from your network, but from the companies you just reached from outside, that was really super, super complicated. Same with the TV stations, TV broadcasters, media partners. If you want to know, like, okay, we are on the TV, for example, we had a TV deal. And then we come, okay, it will be broadcasting on this TV station. Let's make a partnership with your media house so you can communicate it to your people about it. Super hard. These beginnings were really hard. And then we started pretty fast. We had competitors that were trying to get what we had, and it was very challenging because we were a new company, and still with I would say very, very young, with a lot of mistakes, let's say in contracts with our fighters. And these competitors came and they offered them crazy money, overpaid them and took our just freshly built it stars. And it was always, always something. Then the company grows and you need to deal with these issues which all companies have. When you have 20 employees, communication start to be problem. Then you have 50, then it's even bigger other problems. Then you have 100 people, and it's another level of problem. So it's always, always something. But to change people's perception to this sport was or is still the hardest thing, because even today we talk to Puma or Adidas, and they're like, okay, cool, we see it's big, it's growing, but you know, we don't know. We are more oriented to young family or whatever. Many brands will tell you this story that it's not totally a good fit, even though we see it's popular, it's big. So it's all day long challenge, but I mean, all time challenge, but it's slightly better and better. Like now, when you break the record in world record in attendance in Germany, 60,000 people, then even more companies like, okay, maybe we are missing something. So it's a bit easier, but still, this is the biggest challenge.
And how much of that, when you discuss with the companies that you want to cooperate with, is driven by them? Because obviously you can, as you said, you filled in a stadium which had 60,000. Um, then the question is, how much for them is only about reach, and how much of it can be associated with your brand. So what I'm jumping into, like, how do you think that there are brands that possibly could go connected to the same positioning as you have, right? Because octagon and combat sports in general are, they can be positioned in a way, like not like running or cycling or anything else. Do you see that some of those more, I would call them rebellious brands, are they more interested in, maybe from energy drinks categories and so on? Do you see that connection, or is across the board that you have issues with convincing them to jump on board?
Actually, like many, many brands are luckily still in area which fits with us. And first, it's the companies, like you said, energy drinks. Monster Energy is our partner since day one.
Mhm.
Then the supplement companies, betting companies, for them, we are very, very interested. Maybe that's the interesting fact that the biggest sponsorship deal in Czechia and Slovakia in whole sports is between us and Tip Sport. It's more than has a Czech hockey or Sparta Prague or any other football club. It's really like a so. Then you can imagine how we are interesting for such a partner, and how we are interesting for brands which they found this fit. How we are valuable because we have really, I would say, I will knock that we have very good sponsorship deals with the brands we have. But we know the potential is much bigger with the brands like I mentioned, like Burger King or Adidas or whatever. But to answer to your question, so there are these kind of companies which is like easy fit, like because they are seeking for the young male audience, and it's a big advantage in sports actually and advertisement and in marketing in general, that we are live events and you cannot jump over their advertisements. So while we run ad, or it's like this white through the screen, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, or this, or it's on the cage or whatever, you cannot avoid it as a viewer. You just consume it because it's a part of the live event, and that's a big advantage. So compared to the like these ads on YouTube, which you can jump, or paid premium, or in TV, which you not watching live, so you can also move it. This is our big advantage. This is what we are offering, and also we can activate fans on the events with different like QR codes. We try to be creative to really deliver our partners like really good marketing results, so people will know about their brand, and also they will interact with them. And for this, we have multiple, I would say, tools or ideas always on the table how to do it. And I see us as a very good platform for companies to save money on this customer acquisition cost, because all companies know how much they need to spend to get customer. And for example, now we are trying to attract the Revolut. I can name brands here, right? It's not
You
against
can, of
nothing.
course you can. Of
Yeah.
course you can.
Okay.
It's about you. Like, if
Okay.
you, of course, obviously you can. Yes.
And we feel that this is exactly the perfect case where we think we are very attractive for them, because we can bring them with a different, kind of special offer, or make activations of the venue to bring them customers, so they will register, and that's it. They don't need to acquire them anymore, and pay quite a lot of money, because they are kind of specific segment. To convince someone to install and use Revolut, you need to spend a lot of money and energy, and we can do it for them. So we are trying to do it like this, and because we have no external financing, no funds behind us, it's just two owners, me and Andre. We have no state money. Like in this sport, there's like, okay, here's MMA Federation and state send, I don't know, X millions, nothing like that. So we always had to be very creative in advertising. Really, all the brain cells turn on how to make it valuable for our partners, so they will stay with us and they will be willing to pay more. Maybe, for example, like in this TV show at the beginning, we were always trying to put okay, not just logo. Let's make the product placement. Let's make your brand interact with our show, so people really consume or learn about your brand naturally, and it will not be so it will fit better. And I don't know, for example, we made this challenge. They were holding the beer barrels, and who holds longer,
Yeah.
the one we win. And we make it with our partner Singa Beer. The Thai beer was our partner at that time. And so it's like fun. You are entertained, but also you see the brand. They have it then in Villa. So all together you feel like, okay, this is very good beer to drink. It's a nice sportsman's fellas having fun at the Villa drinking beer, and also it's a part of the challenge and so on. So we're always trying to be more creative than others to get partners.
This is a good point, because I was actually, as I mentioned a little bit before, I had a discussion about financing in sport, and you mentioned your financing structure as well. And there's an interesting fact that cycling teams are relying on in 95% on sponsorship deals, where,
Yeah.
for example, in F1, of course, this is a different sport, they have less than 10% in sponsorship. And how is it that
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I
Because
didn't know that.
yeah, exactly. It was funny for me to find out, but basically they have a quite developed income structure, that they have different sources of income that,
Mhm.
you know, for some teams it's 10%, for some teams it's 15, maybe 20, but it's never more than that. And it's interesting because it gives you a stability in terms of, you know, how you can negotiate with sponsors to really find the correct fit. And how is it in combat sports in general? And maybe how is it for you for Octagon? Like, how do you try to really build your business so it's more resilient towards, you know, a sponsor maybe quitting or changing his mind or whatever?
You mean like what's our main pillars of
Yeah,
income
yeah.
in
If you
general?
can talk
Okay.
about them
Yes.
a little bit, yeah.
Mhm. For us, at the beginning, it was just sponsors mainly, and a little bit we get from the TV broadcasters, but it was really like not that much. And so it was the sponsors because we didn't sell any tickets and no pay-per-views, nothing like that, no merchandise. So that was at the beginning on purely sponsors, and I would say that's why we learn to be really good and at acquiring partners because you had to, otherwise we will not exist. And when we developed our business in years, then the tickets and sponsors was the biggest two streams. Then the COVID came and we couldn't sell tickets, so we come up quickly to idea to make it in a bubble in Brno, in Bobit Center, and where is a hotel with the venue connected, and we stream it on pay-per-view. And that's how we learn people because they were bored at home. We were first sport in Czechia and Slovakia who started like operating again after everything was closed. So people were bored at home. We were the only entertainment basically available, and we learned them to buy pay-per-views. That was, I would say, golden era of selling pay-per-view for us.
Yeah.
And since then, we have this very important revenue stream. So now, right now, it's the sponsors uh, and TV rights, then ticket sales and pay-per-view. So this is our three main pillars. I would say they are more or less the same. Now, I would say the partnerships are is the strongest one, and ticket sales. I would say, but it's more or less a similar size.
And how is it for the fighters in general? How what is the current state of of this financing in combat sports in MMA for fighters? Because I've heard some stories that, and I did a little bit of research that unfortunately, you know, these athletes need to train a lot. They need to travel. They need to spend a lot of time in the gym. And unfortunately, there are maybe some of those which have top deals, but apart from that, a lot of them struggle to get financing in general. Is that
Yes,
the good view?
yes, it is. It's actually crazy. Like you are superstar or top 10, let's say, in UFC, and it's not even close to average salary of someone who's playing in Bundesliga, for example.
Hmm.
It's really like it's very big gap, and I don't want to comment UFC because I think they could pay more, but I don't see into their business team, and I don't think so. I don't want to comment it. Then they have their own reasons, but it's still kind of this sport is not that big. So if we are not a football yet, I would say, and the TV rights is a huge revenue stream for the football clubs, right? Sponsors and everything. We are not there yet. I mean, all of us, not just Octagon, but other promotions, but we still pay the best out in whole Europe. Us and KSW are two promotions. They really pay the best. And if you can imagine, it's like you said, if you are top five, top 10, it's good. It's your living. You can live it from that, plus with your own sponsors. And if you are below top 10, it's harder. You need a local part, some sponsor from your network who is supporting you. Otherwise, you need a job because we pay good, I would say. But if you count that people, whether the fighters are fighting 2-3 times per year, even if you get 20,000, it's not enough for trainings and everything, right?
Yes.
So it is like you said. And that's why we make this thing because even me and my partner Andre, we used to work with those fighters and we know how it works. We want them to have a best possible life. So that's why we are working so much on their stories, to promote them, to make them popular. Not just we can sell tickets on them and pay-per-view, but also they can get their own sponsors and be professional athletes paid purely from our money and the sponsorships. So they don't need to go to work. And so, for example, we allowed them to have 10 logos on their t-shirts and trunks so they can promote their own partners on their clothing on our events. Uh, when they are when we are introducing them before the fight, they have the huge banner behind them with their logos again. So we try to get them space where they can promote their partners so they can have a good income all year long, even though you fight 2 3 times per year. And many of them has a very good actually sponsorship deals now. There's maybe a fun fact. It's an extreme case, but this just happened recently. There is a guy named Fosgrone from Germany, and he had a fight in Dortmund month ago, and his nickname is Neanderthal, and he even look like Neanderthal, big hair, like a big dude, like crazy, like weird teeth. I don't know. He's just one of a kind. And he had even very interesting fight, kind of funny. He just grabbed guy for leg, and he was trying to run away, and he was grabbing him on the floor, if you can imagine, because he's a grappler and he want to get him on floor and finish him there. That was his only tactics. So once he hold his leg, he don't want to release. It become meme. Everyone share it. Everyone remember him. He had 5,000 before the tournament on Instagram. Now he has over 200,000 in 1 month. He's super popular. Everyone want to make photos with him, and he got sponsorship deals. I mean, long-term sponsorship deals in value 20,000 euros per month. Imagine this guy. I'm sure he was like counting every euro before this fight. So sometimes this happen, and we are very happy for that. So they can have nice living.
And what do you think for the rest of them? When you work with them, do you see that there's a reason why they can't really find those deals? Is it skills in business, how to approach businesses? Is it not enough of reach because they are maybe small accounts and they don't have so much fans? Or is it both, or is it connection for all of that?
I would say it's both. And when you ask at the beginning, like what was the thing we will struggle at the beginning, maybe one of them was also this, that we are. It's a show. It's a sport business, but it's a show, right? We are a big sports show, and you need to be entertainer. And at the beginning, many fighters didn't understand this, like why I should like be presenting myself on social media, why I should need to have do this interview or go to this podcast or whatever. Let me just train. I'm the best fighter. I want to prove it. But people, you don't need to be the best fighter. You just need to entertain people. They want to see you, attach to you, follow you, and that's your way how to raise your. And you need to also win in fights, but that's but not totally the most important thing. So after years, I would say we show them with our example and with the example of our roster of fighters, that those who are presenting themselves, who are going, who are open to on social speak on social media, and for example, they give themselves some nickname, or we have a guy from Romania, Ion Surdu. His nickname is Dracula, and he has this Dracula coat and hat. When he's walking into the arena. So people can differentiate them, follow them, and that will bring them better sponsorships. So yes, if someone is struggling, it's mostly because he is not good in building his own brand, like personal brand, and also not good to get new sponsorships.
And what is the current state of management? Because like some of them, and it's a fair comment that they want to concentrate on, training and fighting, but then the solution would be to get a proper manager who knows how to handle this kind of stuff. Are there managers who know how to work in business, how to connect that story, how to work with the fighter to, as you said, take those individual characteristics and build a story around them, or it's unfortunately not there yet?
It depends, really. It's many managers that we are working with, and they see again now it's better than before, but we still struggle with it because we are maybe I can maybe tell you we are too much on this story telling and building and filming and all of this. So they are, yes, many times pissed off, like, okay, leave me alone. I just did 3 times I was filming with you. Let me train, please. So sometimes I understand them, but most of them are open to do it. They try to find some balance between training and this promotion stuff. But there are still many of those who are like, no, leave him alone and he will just go and fight, which we have a contract. We need to point it. Here is written that you should do this, but it's less and less, but it's still struggle. Yeah, for them, they somehow want that it will happen all by itself, but you need to contribute. You need to go and speak and give people reason to care about you and your fight. If you are silent, they just don't know you exist, and they care about someone else.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. And that's the point. This is basically a conclusion that I had yesterday when I had this discussion. Pretty much the same, right? Yes, but you are not a footballer. But even those footballers, when they retire, very often, they have issues as well, because if they didn't build during their career, if they didn't build anything else, then suddenly when they stopped playing and they were only good at one thing, that's it for them, right? So I think you're in a good position that you're doing what you love and you're passionate about, but I think it comes with the responsibility to build your business or your personal brand behind it. Then you can leverage that in many ways.
For example, now it's even the times changed in the last 8 years since we founded our promotion. Now people are more open to really share everything on social media. It's more like, yes, we got it. But just a few years back, I was on some conference and one guy from the board of the Slovak football federation, he approached me and he was like, "How you did it that your athletes are so much visible in social media and they're or in normal media open to talk, and if some media call them, can you come to our interview? Yes, I'm going." We somehow, I don't know, we learn them or we attract these kind of fighters who are doing this. And they said, we have so much problem with football players. After football game, there is this, media stuff in the line waiting for interviews. And they're like, leave me alone. Like they don't want to even talk to media. And that's exactly what you said, that at the end of the career, if you are not working on it, I mean, not all football players,
Sure,
obviously, but
sure.
many. And then, yes, you will find yourself at the end of the career with no brand, and
It's so
maybe
much.
you have titles on your shelves, but
Yeah,
yeah, what's
exactly.
now?
Exactly. So jumping from individuals, from athletes to your brand, to Octagon, how important for you was it from the beginning, and maybe how is it now, to really build and take care of the brand Octagon, and how important it is when you discuss with partners? Because like my big background is from brand management, and I always want to look at the projects from that view. And I still believe that brand is one of the most valuable assets. Do you see that as well? Like, because you spend so much
Yes.
time on building it, and you said it, you're a storyteller, and how much it's easier for you now when you mention Octagon, when a situation comes and you need to use it.
Yes, it's actually on various markets a different situation. Here in Czechoslovakia, you say Octagon, everyone knows. We made this research. It's 86% knowledge of the brand. Everyone really know about it. And you walk on street, people stop you, make photos with you. It's really all doors are open. Not all, but you know what I mean.
Majority.
Almost all doors really are open. In Germany, it was we started 2021 or like zero. Again, you need to start from the scratch. And now after this world record event in Frankfurt, that's like totally different story. Like we made a deal with RTL, which is a huge thing. People know about it. Young people follow it. I was in Thailand on and driving on their motorbike with t-shirt Octagon, and some two young German guys like, oh, they're good, like Octagon, we know it. So you really see we are becoming more popular, and they invite us to the conferences, workshops, and so on to speak there. So now it's easier, really. At least if they are not fans, they know about it. That's good. And big, I would say, the biggest example was on this conference in Monaco, Sportel, which we are going every year. And we have been there 2 years ago, and nobody knew about, almost nobody ever heard about Octagon, really. And after this world breaking record event, it was 2 weeks after, was this portal again. And it was everyone, like the biggest brands like Infront, Sportradar, and these like big guys from the business. They were like, "Oh, you are Octagon! Oh my God! Like, we want to meet you. Sit here. Oh, let's talk about the business." So you see how it's shifting. So it's better and better, but we still feel it's a long way to go, because we are talking about Czechoslovakia, Germany, and this, let's say, environment of people on the sports pro, right? But all the rest of the Europe don't know about us, basically, the general public, and we want to be their love brand. So maybe a little bit back to what you asked about the brand. From the day one, we give ourselves like little mission. We don't say that we want people to mix word MMA with word octagon. So, for example, and so people not call it like, "Oh, I'm going to MMA, I'm going to octagon," or some maybe grandma will say, "Oh, my son, he's going every week on octagon. He's training octagon." She will not say he's training MMA.
Sure.
To mix it, so it will be so strong, the brand. And I would say we did it more or less definitely in Czechoslovakia, and now building it in Germany. And we always were very careful with our logo to be presented, to be visible. So people, when they see what's going on, always connected with the brand and with the positive values that we are trying to say to people, to show the sportsmanship, to this huge, I would say, element of fighting your own fear when you are entering the cage. And I think that's something what could be inspirational for many people. So, but I'm now talking about different stuff. But yeah, that's the
but
brand.
you mentioned also an important point, because you are on a lot of markets, and did you ever thought about it, how you approach your brand on those local markets? Because like whenever you started in Czech Republic and Slovakia, there was probably a one way how you wanted your brand to visible. Is there a way how you make sure that your brand stay consistent on other markets, that when you communicate?
Yeah, it's a huge social media presence. We are very, very active on social media, because that's the unique times we are living now, that through just this device I can talk to millions of people. Like, how crazy is that, right? If you think about it, like, before you was dependent on TV broadcasters or media houses, and some person there you need to convince, please tell world about us. But now I can do it. If I'm creative enough, I really can do it. It's amazing, actually. So that's why I believe that social media is the key. But yes, you need some stronger platforms. So that's why I try to signing good TV deals around the Europe, which we are getting better and better deals every year. We are very happy with it. And our strategy is to be accessible as much as possible. It's not important to monetize it with the income is not that important as the spread. So we are mostly focusing on broadcaster who has a big reach. So more and more people will know about us. And while we are growing, we will attract more and more fans. And country by country, we know that Europe is very specific in this, that if you have a business and you are successful in Minnesota in US, you will succeed probably in whole US, because it's the same language, same culture, same thing. But if you are super successful in Poland, nobody knows about you in Slovakia or Germany. Someone can be like celebrity, huge. Everyone wants to touch him. In like our fighters, Carlos Vemola, for example, in Czechia, he's super superstar. But he go to first village in Austria, and nobody knows who he is, right? So we know to each market we need to communicate it separately with their own social media. How we did it in Octagon Deutschland, we have Octagon UK Ireland, we have Octagon España, Octagon France, and we work on the building the audience and their connection with the brand in their own language and in their own style.
Is there one way how you want to represent Octagon on all those markets? Are there some values that you want to be communicating?
Oh yes, I mean we still want to do. We still want, or we try to make it in a way where no matter where the tournament is, all fans are watching. It's if it's in Germany, you are watching from Czechia or I don't know Spain. If it's whatever, right? Like no matter place tournament, you will have 6 hours of fun and entertainment. We know it, so we try to promote this. And so your question was, I have
How do you make sure that on all those markets Octagon is represented the same way? You know, like you have
okay,
the
yes.
same you have the same brand values and
Yes, yes, we have like a huge brand manual where yes, where it has like yeah, a lot of pages, and we are kind of strict because we don't want to promote, let's say, freak show. We don't want some kind of, yes, we want to polarize in many ways or make it, let's say trash talk sometimes, but there's always a border which we don't want to cross. And maybe just how to feel it. It's like, is this something what I want my kids to watch? You know, will I be okay if my kids will be watching this? That's, I would say, is the border. So yes, let's test on, be controversial, but there's always a line which we don't want to cross because we want to leave something good. And we are now launching the big campaign, Face Your Fear. We want to encourage people to face their fear in their every fear in everyday lives, and this will be communication which will go everywhere. So, is this what the brand represents? What we trying to tell to the world, and how we want to celebrate our athletes? That's the same for all markets, I would say. And then we have a plan like how to reach all of them, but I probably can't tell, but we have an idea of certain fights. We are working on it now, which can unite all fans in Europe for sure, and also many fans around the world. And we need this bomb. Let's say once per year, that's enough. And once you have it, then people massively start to joining your brand, no matter from where they are in Europe.
Yeah. How closely do you listen to the audiences on those local markets? You know, you mentioned that you were doing some of the researches, but apart from that, do you work with the audiences, ask them what they want, what they respect, what they want more, and then you try to adjust the plan, the program, or how the fights are, or is it more about whatever you worked out in Czech Republic and Slovakia, and then try to replicate that on the other markets?
We are learning every time when we go somewhere. We, for example, expanded to UK last year, and it was not successful expansion. So that's where we learn a lot about the British audience and people there, which maybe we should listen, like you said, to them before, and maybe we will not even go there. But I would say we are, yeah, asking that we make the research, trying to uh, know our customers. But the thing is, in our because it's very specific. If you go to if we would make a research in Germany in 2021, do you like MMA? Do you want to watch this? You know, there would be no, no, no everywhere. They were super conservative to this, and so we are coming to new markets with the vision, and you have nobody to ask because I believe, and so far we proved it, that people will like it in a way how we serve it to them. but you have nobody to ask at the beginning, especially because the market doesn't exist. Basically, you create it. So that's it's a little specific, but we also do the research is trying to know who our customers are and adjusting it, I would say backwards. Like we see what is working, what is not. For example, in Germany, we learned that these different Bundeslands are like different countries, basically,
Mhm.
and something else works on the north than in south in Munich area. Like at the north, you can put on poster these two tattooed guys, tough fellas on poster. They will like it. In Munich, they not that much. So, for example, we stopped putting on posters the tattooed people and make it more polished for them and these things. So yeah, it's you learn from the experience, I would say.
So it's more test and learn, basically.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so now,
Sometimes it costs a lot of money.
oh, of course, but that's an important point to mention when not always a questionnaire or a market research will answer all of your questions, right? So
And this is actually very, very tricky. I would not say I have recipe for success because we did many mistakes, obviously. But I believe in this like really a lot. This principle, for example, because if Steve Jobs would make a research, how many people want just screen with one button? That time everyone was thinking we want more
more buttons and easier.
yes, more buttons, right? He would never launch the iPhone. You need to believe that this is a good product and go to show it to people. So you need to risk that. And we are doing this. Like I said, we did many mistakes, cost us a lot of money. But I would say that's why maybe we are now the biggest European promotion in MMA and still growing fast because we are bringing something here, something extraordinary, and which attracts people.
Great. And so now I would ask you not to be humble. And what do you think was the biggest reason you succeeded? Of course, you mentioned that you have, outside of the discipline itself, like what do you think was or where, if there is multiple reasons why Octagon is such a success as it is now?
I would say it's a multiple factors. Like I would say, one of the biggest things actually is that I think we are a very good fit with my partner Andre. He's very very smart and amazing guy, and we share the same vision. That was very important, and I would say we were on the right time at the right place. And I will unhumbly say that I knew it actually because I was really like uh, I appeared myself at one moment when I was doing this MMA management. I was working on like special MMA app, doing this like little events with the MMA Federation and so on. I was filming documentaries about them and promoting guys. And I was thinking like, look how huge it is in US now, and here is nobody like me. Like I'm alone. Like it's like I was like look around and like nobody was even close to what I was doing. The network, knowledge, experience. And Andre was very similar in Czechia. And I was like, this is it. Like, I can do this. I can even make whatever, how many mistakes. It's still the first who will start to race behind me will be really far. So I am in an environment which, with the product, which I know from US, it can be possible. People can love it and there's nobody else trying and nobody even see what I see. Let's do it with nice documentaries and TV shows, like zero. So I think this to got it at the right point was our biggest advantage. That's why we succeeded. We come up with the product which is very attractive. Even if people don't like it, you consider it. Okay, I'm curious. Okay, what they are fighting with? Basically, no rules. Of course, there are rules, but it's like real fight in the cage, and it's something what we have inside of our DNA. It attracts you, and if you pack it in nice package, so you are not afraid of it, I think that's the recipe for success. And how we made this benchmark at the beginning. I said we have to make it in a way when even my mom will watch it. And my mom, she was a bank auditor, very like peacemaker person, like never ever watched anything that was violent anyway. And I was like, if we will attract her, that she'll be watching through the stories, then we got the proper audience because we want people like her. And these things, I would say, leads to who we are and why we succeed.
Great. So basically, early on, you decided and you bet on the idea.
Yes. And
And
also this kind of novelty, maybe for many brands, this could be useful thing, which I would say is not many people talk about it in marketing environment, but our brain is reacting on novelty, like new things,
yeah,
pretty well. That's why now every 3 months these different hooks are working on social media
of
because
course.
it's something new, and I stay to watch. And this is we are very like new for them. They never saw such a thing, and this novelty is also helping us a lot.
And how much of it do you think was the business side? So, because you need to have, apart from you and your partner, you need to have good team who executes on processes. This boring stuff has to
Yeah.
also be there, right? It needs to be there because otherwise the idea by itself is not going to work. So how much do you
Yeah.
think that part was also contributing to the success?
No, a lot, a lot. You cannot do like disconnect these two things, and it tests us a lot through the time, because we were just two creative guys with a big dream and vision, and I would say resilience to never give up. But we had very little knowledge how to run a company and bigger company than more than people. So quite quickly, I would say the real problem starts when we have like 20, 30 people, when we are like, oh, how come people don't know about things and communications problems? And there was too many things on us. I was financial director, I was HR, I was marketing, everything. And my Andre was the same. We were doing everything. Ooh, it was hard, but we for us it was never option to not make it. So we learn on the way, and we took people on board. And sometimes I even laugh if I look back what kind of decisions we made, and we were thinking this is the right thing within the team. I mean,
Yeah.
how we build the structure of the company, and now it sounds even funny, but that's how you learn. And now we have proper structure with the CEOs, CMOs, and or CFOs and whoever see, and they have these board meetings, and strategy meetings, and luckily, a lot of this really, really boring stuff are handling people who are much better in it than me or Andre, and we can focus on the creative stuff, matchmaking, that's Andre's thing, and ticketing and so on, the things that are important, or business development.
Mhm. What makes it a good fit for people for you looking to join Octagon? Is there a character that you see among people
Mhm.
that they do better in Octagon than they would do in other companies?
Yeah, we are looking for people who have the good attitude. That's over everything, I would say. And people who has you see the fire in their eyes. We want these people who are willing to work hard and a lot, and then being rewarded, because I would say we are working hard. All our team is really always to the maximum. We squeeze them, and they squeeze themselves. We want to deliver as much as we can, and then you have this reward when we are on the event, and there is 15,000 people, like having fun and getting crazy and have this energy, and then there's a great KO and whole arena jump on the feet and yelling. For us who are creating all of this, it's the biggest like payment you can get, and we have it every month. So we are, I would say, this. I would if this is our drug that we are getting every month, so we are very addicted to this drug.
Mhm. Mhm. Uh, how much of it, because now every industry is saying that AI will take the jobs of that industry. How much of it is impacting how you run business and
We
uh,
see it. Mhm.
mhm.
We see it as a huge opportunity, actually, how to make our business more effective, especially in the video making, photographs, design. We are, for example, we have 10 graphics designers in company, which is, I would say, crazy a lot. We have 30 people is in video production, 56 people in marketing. And you can be much more effective if you use the AI properly in these fields. So huge opportunity for us. And luckily, I would say, if we would be a law firm, I would be very scared actually what the AI is bringing to the business. But in our case, we are sport, and I think the sport will be the last victim of AI because people first want to be entertained, and nobody would like to watch 22 robots playing football or fighting in cage. Like that's no, we want people with their mistakes, with their imperfections to try to compete in any athletic sport. And I think this is a big advantage for us. So probably people in near future will have more free time because thanks to AI. uh, I hope the world will go proper direction and people having even better incomes and can enjoy their money on events like ours.
Yeah, that's a great vision because I would also appreciate that. And how much do you think it will impact the size of your team? Because some of the companies are saying that they can reduce, for example, a certain
Mhm.
group of programmers, graphics, or whoever else.
It's
Can be,
happening a lot.
and in your team as well. Like, how do you see it? Will it be
No,
more
because
about? Mhm.
sorry, because we cannot, we are not that good in implementing of AI, even though it's one of our priorities for next months. But so I would maybe it will reduce some positions, but most likely I would say we can grow and we don't have to acquire more people. Even the team we have right now can achieve much more. So this is how I see because, for example, the I'm friend with Ralph the Goose, who is the co-founder of 433, this football uh, website and profile. It's actually biggest social media brand in the world. If you combine all their accounts, and he told me that we had 70 people on who was writing articles and feeding content, creating it, and thanks to AI, now we have 30. So it's massive actually impact on the business like we are. I think we are not that much different from them. So I really hope we can be much more effective thanks to AI. We have to actually because someone else will do it.
Yeah, exactly. But you made a good point, and I think that's something to consider for other companies, which is not necessarily you need to reduce
Mm.
people, but actually you can make it in the other direction, which means you can do more, you can
Yeah,
grow more, and you can grow faster because some of the process will be done quicker. So
exactly.
I think that's a good point to basically think about because everyone is saying about optimizing the team and maybe reducing team, but where maybe if we get people who know how to use AI, you can actually do much more than you were before. So
Exactly.
that's a good point, and I think it's good for the future for people to consider that.
Yeah.
And I think there was also a good quote that AI will not take your work, but it will be someone who knows how to use AI. And I think that's
Yes.
also a good point. What do you see the future for Octagon? Like, where are you heading, and where will be the directions where you think will be the biggest development?
We see it like definitely the midterm. I would say it's a German market and DACH region where we, thanks to the RTL deal, we have now crazy potential. Is the second biggest media house in Europe after BBC. They're everywhere, and they are like even people trust RTL. If RTL says this is okay, then it's okay. And people are now much more open to consume our content than before. So we know that for next 2, 3 years, we want to focus on it to become second, third most popular sport in Germany. Besides, I mean, football, you will never reach this level probably, but then you have handball, NFL, and these brands, these sports, and we want to be somewhere here because we know it's possible. And that's a long way to go, but for our brand, it can boost us like crazy. And then the next TV deal could be really huge. But meanwhile, we are working on another areas. We want to expand to different countries in Europe, doing tournaments here, there, to touching the markets, testing them, and making them attract us actually. Because to UK we came and we I think one of the problem was the market was not ready, and we want to heat the markets before more. So once we will come, people will be like, "Yes, you are finally here." So this is our mission for the this midterm, and then in long term, that's which means 5, 10 years, we would like to be really like watched by the whole Europe, like Champions League. It's a European thing, European product watched every Wednesday by many households, millions of people watching, and no matter from which country you are. And we want to make it this kind of size that at Saturday, when there is an octagon, whole Europe will be watching. I mean, millions of fans, maybe not that many again as a Champions League. Don't take me wrong, but millions from all countries. And if and the country where the tournament is, like let's say it will be in Spain, it will be like a celebration, like when the Formula One event is somewhere. Then the whole week, the whole country, it's they live with it. You can find it in every TV show, podcast. People talk about it, all 3 days, the weekend, it's that city, it's crazy about it. I see us like this, or NFL European when they do European games, it's like this. So we see ourselves like this, doing 20 tournaments per year around Europe and make people crazy about it, because we know even now that we are the most entertaining MMA show in the world, and I believe that's a huge potential for success. Why most entertaining? Because nobody's doing what we do. If you go, I wish actually all fans of Octagon to go to UFC event, so they will see the difference. And I don't mean it bad towards the UFC. It's a great brand. I love them. They are doing amazing job, but they are just different. They are more just sport oriented. On the event, there is not much fun. They don't care about the fans in arena compared to our event. There's always something going on. It's a lot of shows. We have this mascot. Your first promotion with the mascot, and always try to entertain you with a lot of stories and then side activations and fun zone outside and so on. And also we do these celebrity fights, for example, but not the stupid ones when you take two famous people just fight and no matter what will happen. No, we put them in training, film it half year, how they are preparing, sweating, torturing themselves on mat. And then for one night, they become MMA fighters for one night in their lives. It's so crazy and so much fun to watch. Just recently, we had two influencers in Germany, and we broke the record 1.3 million people watching that event, which was to compare the Bundesliga match normally have around 800,000. So there was really good numbers. So this kind of stuff and entertainment, we are the only promotion in the world who is doing sport in a very sporty way, but with this all show and fun around.
So storytelling is this is another reason why we should really consider storytelling in everything
Yes.
what we do.
Yes, 100% sure actually that I think the story is everything. That I had some speech on one conference recently, and I was telling them that this, I would say, is the most important thing, because with the story, in all of us is a small kid hidden, right? We are still kids kind of inside. We like stories. We grew up on fairy tales and parents reading us all the stories about princesses and dragons, and we like stories always. And I think if you say story about your product and real story or good story, then people will care about it more. That's the most important thing. So if you then release any other information about your brand or product, then they will be watching. They will be reading. They will be much more open to be informed what you are trying to tell because they care. And to make them care, I think you need a good story.
And that's amazing. And I think that's the perfect closing remarks based on your not only your mission, what you have, and I wish you all the best in that, because I think, with your passion and with the approach to storytelling and to brand management, I think, you're on the right track. So thank you very much for the conversation, and
Thank you.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
If you enjoyed this conversation and want to explore more insights at the intersection of marketing, storytelling, and business growth, visit jakubkosmowski.com. You will find more content, case studies, and ways we can potentially work together. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.